Hello and welcome, Essex County College family. This is the Staff Spotlight. We like to highlight all of the wonderful and amazing individuals who work at Essex County College on this program. The program is designed to help bridge the gap between students and all these wonderful professionals that work for the college. They work tirelessly, especially through COVID-19, to make sure that students are still getting the same level of education and service that they would at any other time. Today's special guest is the director of the Men and Women of Excellence Scholars Program, Mr. Ledawn Hall. Mr. Hall, how are you today?
I am doing quite well. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We appreciate you coming on the Staff Spotlight, sir. So we'd like to get your entire Essex County College profile so we can let our students know about all the awesome things that you provide for them. Our first question today is to get a little bit of background. What were you doing? What were you working before you came to Essex County College?
I started Essex County College May 1st of 2012. So 8 years prior to that time, I was working in retail at a major department store in the men's department.
So who or what brought you to Essex County College? Because usually there's somebody saw an ad in the newspaper or in the computer, or somebody's aunt gave you a call and said, hey, they got an opening. So how did you find Essex?
It is so weird you just mentioned aunt. Education was not in my foreseeable future at the time I began at Essex County College, but my brother's, at the time's wife's aunt, her best friend works at Essex County College, and she just threw my name out there, and you took a chance, and sure enough, I came in and interviewed and was hired and began my new career in education. I like to say to people, it's fine with who you know that gets you in, but it's what you know and what you're willing to learn that keeps you in. So that's how I started, my aunt, essentially.
That's awesome. So you mentioned that you started working for the college in 2012. What department did you debut in when you came here in 2012?
I love the debut. I debuted in the Student Development and Counseling Office under Miss Fatima. She's in charge of the work study program and student development. And at the time, the director of the department was Miss Pamela Maynard. Those two leaders, if you would, my mentors, really helped shape me and what I do in education to this day. I could not be more thankful for the two of them. And then I'll just throw in two other names, Judy Bassano and Fiordeliza Mendez. The four of them all together have really shaped what I view as students first, which was my mantra before it became ECC's mantra. So I feel like they copied it from me. You're welcome, ECC. And working in student development and counseling, I got to learn so much working with different populations of students, particularly with probationary students, new students, transfer students. I got the gambit of it all, and I could not have been more thankful because you got to see on any given day a different student or different kind of student, and really helped shape my understanding of how I could be a better asset to them here at ECC.
Okay, great. All right, so Ledawn debuted in our student development and counseling department. And in student development and counseling, like you mentioned, you have a lot of great staff there. So you had access to excellent mentors, and you began to become a mentor to our students. What type of services did you offer to our students in student development and counseling?
Working in student development counseling, you get every kind of student that ECC has to offer. I think if you were to ask what is the student at ECC, the answer would be everyone. Whether they consider themselves brand new students, first time, first generation students, returning, visiting students looking just to take a course or two to have it transferred back to their other institution, a mature student, I was called an older adult, a non-traditional student. I got them all. So again, working with Ms. Fatima, working with Ms. Maynard, working with the counselors in the departments, working with the transfer coordinator, working with the differently abled community. I got the whole gambit. So learning to teach them how to register themselves, figuring out what courses to take, helping them come up with a game plan to redo what, may have been a past mistake or so. Letting them know that whatever you did, it's not the end of the world. It's just how you come back from it. So that was probably the key basis that I did in student development and counseling, working with the different types of students, helping them to figure out academically what courses they should be taking to graduate on time, and correcting past mistakes that may have hindered them from getting to their ultimate goal of graduation.
Wow.
It was a lot.
So we recently did an episode of Virtual Cafe with Ledawn as our guest, and we call him our registration guru. And he acquired all of these wonderful guru skills while working in student development and counseling. There you go.
Mhm.
All right. So, did you work in any other departments in between where you are now and student development and counseling?
Just two. So I was in the position as the academic advisor with student development counseling for 2 years, but then my role transitioned to another department under the Office of Retention and Academic Advisement. And that's where I remained for the next 5 to 6 years, doing the same thing. While my title may have changed, but essentially doing the same thing, working with different populations of students, just figuring out what is the best and quickest way of getting them from where they're currently at to graduation, that guided pathways, if you will.
Okay. So that's interesting. No matter what the department, whether you were in student development and counseling or Office of Retention, your main goal and your main priority is helping the students literally register and advising them on what classes they should take, right?
Correct. Or, and in addition to that, not just on the academic side of things, I like to think of students as they are a whole being. They're more than just the academics. So when you look at that and you look at their personal side and the professional sides, anything that happens personally and professionally can very easily bleed into the academic side. So then it's about understanding all the resources Essex County College has to offer to the students, and then helping them connect to those resources if it's outside of what you can directly handle yourself.
I really like how you put that, the whole being of the student, because that is something that is often overlooked in higher ed and academia, is that the student puts school first before everything, and this is their main priority. And that simply is just not how it is sometimes. So it's great to have a staff member like you who recognizes, on the front line with our students to say, hey, we know you got a lot of other stuff going on. We might not be your first priority. Let me help you and help guide you to the best way to manage all of these things at the same time, right?
I love how you put that. My priority is when I speak with a student, it's not to ask how are your classes going first, it's to ask how are you doing. Tell me about what's going on personally, professionally, the things that you might be happy about, things that are maybe struggling with, and then transitioning at some point into the academic side of things. Again, they were persons before they became a student, so let's acknowledge that aspect first.
Very beautifully said, sir. I know our students appreciate all the hard work that you've been putting in for them. My next question to you is, what do you love to do outside of Essex County College? What is your favorite pastime, your favorite hobby, something else that you're involved in? What do you love to do when you're not helping our students?
I cannot believe I'm saying this now as an older adult, but when I first began retail and continued when I first started with here at Essex County College, I was a big gamer. I've now transitioned out of that to now just veg out on TV. And then we have the creations of Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, so many other. I mean, I can never find a show that I can't like get into. So I'm a couch potato, and I'm okay with that.
Amazing. Let's do a quick circle back to gamer because I know our students want to hear about that real quick. When you were in the thick of gaming, what were your games? The games that would bring you peace, joy, excitement. What were the games that you look forward to getting home from work and playing as soon as you get home?
I had access to a lot of different gaming systems, including the Super Nintendo ES, the Nintendo 64, Sega Genesis, and so forth. So if I wanted to go old school with Mario Kart, that's probably one of my favorites still to this day. Um, oh, good. I'm thinking Rygar. I don't know why that was comes to mind, but that was actually a really good game too. Of course, Sonic the Hedgehog. I mean, it was nothing better when I could get the Chaos Emeralds and I transformed to the Super Sonic. But those are my like the more simplistic games. Nothing more or less fighting games. I wasn't really much into that. But I've had action adventure with an actual end result. That's always a good title for me.
So let's just talk about Mario Kart real quick. what was your favorite character and possibly your favorite item to use on the track to mess with the other players?
I think my go-to would have to be 50-50 split between Bowser because being so big, it took a lot of momentum to get him started. But once he got started, then he was actually really quick. And then probably Toad was probably the other go-to character for me. As far as like tools, I don't know how or why, but I was really skilled with the banana pill. I could aim it with deadly precision. So that was actually pretty good for me.
Oh my God, I didn't know. I don't know how I predicted this. I knew you were going to say banana peel. That is a deadly
It really
weapon in
is.
Mario.
If you can land it just right, they don't even see it coming half the time. I love it.
You know, students in earlier video games like Mario Kart, we didn't have the blue shell of Doom yet. We only had the banana peel. So you had to do things like Ledawn just said and be precise and toss that banana peel very well timed to make sure it defeated your opponent. In later iterations of Mario Kart, we have game-changing items like the blue shell and the
Hmm.
bombs and everything. But back in the day, there was a little bit more precision required when trying to topple your opponents at Mario Kart.
It's interesting when you think about some of the games that are out now, like Halo and Call of Duty. I think is probably the most prevalent one right now. Back in my day, when we were doing computer games, late '90s, early 2000s, there was a game called Quake on the computer. And I think back to it now, 20 plus years later, it was actually still pretty graphic considering the graphics were nowhere near as developed as they are currently. But yeah, I'm like, yeah, I go back in time to thinking about that stuff, thinking I played those games. Wow.
So I'm right there with you. I loved Quake and Doom on the PC when I was a kid, and that was the beginnings of first person shooters, but it wasn't as crazy and violent
Yes.
and unbelievable as it is now. But those early days on the PC with Quake and Doom and even Tomb Raider and games like that,
Tomb Raider.
awesome,
Yes. Hmm.
right?
Very good. Crash Bandicoot.
Oh man. This is why we brought Mr. Hall on this show today because students, we know you care about this stuff and there are nerds among us throughout the entire institution. And I'm going to highlight all those nerds for you. So, getting back to the Essex County College professional side with
Mhm.
Mr. Ledawn Hall, you currently are the director of the Men and Women of Excellence Scholars Program. Now, I've met and interviewed a few students about the Men and Women of Excellence Scholars Program, and they had nothing but amazing things to say about you specifically and about how you changed their life. So, can you tell us a little bit about that program and your role?
I think I owe each of those students $20. But, so let me just go. I'll give the Cliff Notes version of it. The Men and Women of Excellence Scholars Program, I just call it for MWE or Men and Women of Excellence for short. It is a research study program. So it's actually two different point of views, if you will, and it's just my job to kind of convalesce them into one unique vision for the student. We are a program that is designed to help students, again, find the quickest way in and out of here at Essex County College. We want to make sure that they don't linger. We love having them here, but we hope the attitude is, I like being here, but goodbye. I graduated, I'm moving on to bigger and better things, bachelor's degree, the master's degree, or professional degree. We don't want them lingering here. So how do we get them in and out the quickest way possible, making sure to limit or eliminate any type of barriers? When it comes to the research part, this is what's really good. Essex County College, along with 8 other community colleges throughout the country, in Indiana, Ohio, and California, all 9 schools, including us, partner with MDRC, which is a nonprofit, nonpartisan social policy and research organization. Really long title, just saying that they're a bunch of good people who want to help low income individuals succeed in higher education. And this is just one aspect of doing this. Um, our research goal is to study one particular variable. Does a program like Men and Women of Excellence really help students stay in school and graduate on time? I think if you would ask anyone on average, does any program in higher education that deals with academic advisement, both personal and professional coaching, provides engagement opportunities like workshops, and at some point when COVID hopefully one day is over, field trips, and we support their enrollment. That's the fancy higher education where you're saying we pay you money. Shh, don't tell anyone. Any program that does this, does that sound like they would help students stay in school and graduate? I think most people would say yes. But here in higher education, it's not enough just to believe that or even observe that. We have to prove that with cold, hard data. So essentially, we find eligible students, give them all the information. We want them to be fully aware of what we're asking for. And essentially, we're simply asking for access to the academic information. The research organization does not want to know any personal information about the student, not your name, your address, your telephone number, your social security number, your email. They don't want any of that information. They want you to be completely anonymous. What they are asking for is simply your academic information. What courses did you take for the semester? How many credits did you attempt? What was your semester GPA? What's your overall GPA? And ultimately, did you graduate Essex County College? Because this is a research study, a study by definition means we're comparing two or more groups. In this case, we're only looking at two groups. The standard group is what any student here at ECC already is. As an ECC student, you have access to all the resources this school has to offer, whether or not you even know what those resources are. The other group is my group, the Men and Women of Excellence, where again, as an ECC student, you have access to all the resources the school has to offer, but then you get those added benefits I just talked about, the academic advisement, the personal and professional coaching, the engagement opportunities, and the student support money. And then we simply compare the two groups, and ideally, if we're doing our jobs, I would hope the results show that students and Men and Women of Excellence did better than the standard group. But again, that's my hope. The data will speak for itself and ultimately decide which group did better. Did the Men and Women of Excellence do better than, the same as, or heaven forbid, worse than the standard group? And that's where we go from there.
Students, this is an unbelievable program. If you're interested, please contact Mr. Hall. He is the best candidate we have to host something like this, and our students get a lot out of this program. So I highly advise you, if you're looking to take those next steps in your academic career and your overall career, you're going to want to join the Men and Women of Excellence College Program.
Please reach out to me at MWE, M for Men, W for Women, E for Excellence, at essex.edu.
We have one more question for you today, and then we're going to end our program. And that question is, what is the best piece of advice that you have for all of our incoming, current, and future Essex County College students?
I have so many adages and mantras, probably like 1,000 of them, but I'll limit it just to two. The first one is, whether you believe you can or you think you cannot, you are right. Again, you are the architect of your own design. Whatever life offers you, whatever school offers you, whatever opportunities are out there and presents itself to you, you can decide whether it's for you or whether it is not. But at the end of the day, whether you think you can or you think you cannot, you're right. So it's only up to you and yourself to prove to yourself that you can do it. Again, fear can be a very healthy emotion, if you will. Yes, there's some negative aspects of fear that can keep you from doing things. There are some positive aspects of fear as well. But the beautiful thing about fear, I would like to say, is fear helps you break the routine. Again, doing this interview right now, when I was initially asked to do it, my immediate response in my head was, no, I don't want to be on camera. No, thank you. That's just me. I will probably say no each and every time a professional development opportunity presents itself to me. That is okay to say no initially. Give yourself 5 minutes and then change your mind. Fear helps you break that routine, and it can be a really good motivating factor for you doing things outside your comfort zone. If you are afraid or scared of something, that's probably means you should be doing it. Because once you feel so comfortable that you feel you don't need to do anything, you're too comfortable and you're no longer growing. Fear helps you grow. In addition to that first mantra, I like to say, if you get an email from me, at the bottom of my signature line, you'll see 3 words: communication, engagement, and perseverance. When it comes to communication, To the best of my knowledge, no one is psychic. You may be lucky and you may guess things correctly, but you're not psychic. If you choose not to communicate to your professors, to your administrators, to someone you feel comfortable enough to speak to help you figure out the situation, use them as a wall to reflect your own ideas. You may already know the answer, what you need to do, but it's okay just to utilize them as a reflection in that aspect. Communicate. Teachers are human beings. If you let them know what's going on, I do not think you would be surprised that they can understand and assist you in any way possible they can. When it comes to engagement, can you be successful without engagement? Very rarely. But if you utilize engagement, your success will be that much more enjoyable to obtain because you are engaging the institution, you are engaging people, you are engaging the material. I mean, we all have work aspects that we don't want to do, but when you can engage other people, that makes it more fun, it makes it more pleasurable, and it makes it that much easier to obtain success. Last but not least, perseverance. You're human, life happens, you will get obstacles thrown at you every day and night, guaranteed. Perseverance is taking those obstacles and pushing them to the side and moving forward. That is where you partner with someone, communicate with them to help you do that. Most students and most staff members, I think, most people in general, feel that they have to go at it alone. You do not. I've been a student multiple times. I will be a student again. You're in the same place where I've been. Utilize my experience, utilize the other staff and administrators' experience to help you figure things out and persevere. Um, I like to say those three tools absolutely help you with student success. And at the end of the day, that is our mantra. Essex County College's mantra is students first. You are the largest stakeholders of any institution. Use your power and communicate, engage, and persevere. Find someone, connect with them, and move forward. Thank you.
Truly unique and engaging words of wisdom from our one and only director of the Men and Women of Excellence Scholars Program, Mr. Ledawn Hall. Ledawn, thank you so much for doing the program today.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Our pleasure. We'd like to thank you all for tuning in to the Staff Spotlight. Thank you for hanging out with us during our nerded out conversation. I know you enjoy these things, so we will keep bringing them to you. We hope that you and your family are doing well during this time, and we will see you next time. Take care.